What's up, YouTube? It is me, Waltman89, and I am here with the video I promised a while back. I never delivered on. I really apologize for that. And it is the top super fights that are still possible in the realm of UFC. Now, this is only fights with people contracted or who could be contracted if they wanted to be. And it's not taking people from Bellator. It's not taking people out of complete retirement. It's just guys who are. It's still possible for them to be active. So let's get it started with Jose Aldo against Anthony Pettis. It would be a fight of two extremely high-level strikers, two extremely unique strikers who both have an incredible arsenal of kicks, an incredible showcase. They are very flashy, but they are both very, very dangerous, and it would be very interesting to see how they would try to neutralize each other. And if I would kind of expect this one to maybe be like one or both might be very tentative to try and go in for their kicks and stuff because they know the power the other guy has. They know the knockout abilities and what the other guy can bring. So I would think this might be a fight where you'd see a different side of both guys. Maybe you'd see their ground game. Maybe you'd see their submission game, and it would be very, very interesting to see what would happen in that fight. Another one would be Anthony Pettis again. Anthony Pettis and Conor McGregor. I would expect this one to be a brawl because I think Conor McGregor is a crazy Irish bastard, and he would just go in there and he would have it in his mind that he could knock out Pettis, and I truly believe he could. And Pettis would have it in his mind that he needs to knock out McGregor because McGregor would shoot his mouth off. And I think that would be an incredibly entertaining fight, an incredibly high box office fight, because Conor McGregor is a giantly high rising star in the UFC. And two more fights will be in that same division, 155. Dos Anjos against Pettis. Or not Pettis, Aldo. That it would be ground game versus stand-up game. And it's not that Aldo doesn't have a great stand-up or ground game, because he does. I believe he's, if not a black belt, a high-level belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he would know how to get it done on the ground. But he prefers to strike on his feet. He prefers to use his elbows and knees and use his Muay Thai above his Jiu-Jitsu, because that's just what he's more comfortable with. And Dos Anjos is much the same way, but Dos Anjos is a lot more comfortable in an MMA fight going to the ground. So I would think that would be a battle of Aldo trying to keep it standing and Dos Anjos trying to get Aldo to the ground. And then you'd have Dos Anjos versus McGregor. And I think right off the bat, that would be another take him to the ground for Dos Anjos. And McGregor would just be trying to knock him out like he does every fight, because he always tries to knock him out within the first 1 to 2 rounds and get out of there and be as entertaining of a fighter as humanly possible. And I think a McGregor-Dos Anjos fight would be incredibly entertaining. It would be incredibly good. It would be a fight that could break records that McGregor and Aldo very well could set next month. And then we go to the women's, and this one is very, very up there because of how long they've been talking about it, how long both competitors have said they want this fight, but one won't do it without the other one going to her weight class, and that is Ronda Rousey and Cyborg. And I firmly believe this is going to happen. I firmly believe that everything Cyborg is doing is trying to get down to 135 and trying to make the weight. Because I think she has it in her mind that she is the one female out there who can beat Ronda Rousey. And I don't know. I've never seen Cyborg fight. I don't have access to her fights most of the time. I don't have Fight Pass. I've never found Fight Pass to be particularly worth it. But I know she's an incredibly skilled striker. I know she is a brutally strong woman. I know she is just... she is the second best female fighter in the world, aside from Ronda Rousey. Yes, she tested positive for steroids in the past. Yes, that is something that can always be held against her. But you can't deny her skills based on that. You just can't. She is an incredibly skilled fighter that would just... I think she would give Ronda, without a doubt, her biggest test. And I think she could be the one that if she doesn't beat her, she might be the first one to take Ronda to the cards. And like have the judges give it to her instead of her knocking her out or submitting her with a patented armbar. And then we have Cain Velasquez and Jon Jones. Now, a couple of obstacles were thrown in this fight's way this year. One is Jon Jones is indefinitely suspended and was stripped of his light heavyweight title after he got in a hit-and-run accident, and there were apparently drugs in the car, and he went back after fleeing the vehicle to get money out of his car and just left the people who he hit. He didn't make sure they were okay. He didn't do anything. He fled, came back, got money, and left. Allegedly. And then the other thing that was thrown in is Cain Velasquez got beat for the second time in his career this past weekend. He got choked out by Fabricio Verdum. So those are two obstacles thrown in that fight's way. But I really think that when Jon Jones is physically unable to cut weight down to 205 anymore, if he continues fighting, which I think he will after this is all settled and everything, I think Jon Jones and Cain Velasquez would be probably Jones's first UFC heavyweight fight. And that would be an incredible fight. That would be a fight I would pay to see. Because you would have, arguably, the two baddest fighters on the planet, toe-to-toe, in the octagon. It would be, is Jones going to have his way with him and keep his reach and keep his distance and circle him and pitter-patter with the strikes and land his notoriously nasty-looking kicks and elbows? Or is Cain going to get him up against the cage and wear him out and press and grapple on the cage, break, punches, grapple on the cage, break with punches, just grinding his opponent out like he did to Dos Santos in their last fight? And that would be a very interesting fight. That would be a fight where people would be very split on. I would personally probably take Jones in that fight. I think it would be decision. I don't think either of those two are going to allow themselves to get finished in that fight. I just think that they're both going to go for the finish, but they're not going to get the finish. And next we've got the big one, the one that has been talked about for a very, very long time, and that is Anderson Silva versus George St-Pierre. I know this fight probably should have happened 3 or 4 years ago, and it wouldn't be as good, and it will never live up to the hype, but damn it, I still want to see it. I would still love to see the two most dominant champions of the 2000s square off at 185, because GSP could make 185. I truly think GSP could make 185. If he was that jacked at 170 and cutting weight, I think he could come in as the superiorly bigger fighter. But again, that would be an incredible fight. That would be another fight of two completely contrasting styles that would make for a beautiful fight. I mean, you'd have GSP looking to get the takedown and wear him down and use ground and pound. And you'd have Silva looking to brutally strike and quick strikes and counter strikes and looking to bait in GSP to time his strikes and use his head movement and his just Anderson and Silva's just incredible quickness and with his hands and his feet and his head movement. Anderson Silva's head movement is some of the quickest I have ever seen. It is ridiculous how much he can make people miss. It is ridiculous his counter-punching ability, the power of his counter-punches, and just how much he dominates people when he puts his mind to it. And it's the same with GSP. Like, outside of his last fight with Johnny Hendricks, he was dominant. He was completely dominant. He was taking fights 50-45 for like 3 or 4 years straight. It was, you weren't seeing him lose a round. Like, it's, oh my god, that's insane. That's unbelievable when you see him lose a single round. But I have no idea who I think would win that fight. I think right now, if they did it and GSP just entered a training camp and he wasn't given a lot of time, that Silva would win because GSP hasn't fought since 2013. But that's it. That's my thoughts on the most anticipated, my most wanted UFC super fights. Comment. Tell me what yours are. Tell me what you think of mine. Tell me ones that I missed. Tell me your what you would book as super fights in the UFC. Who would your big badass fights be at 155, 175, 185, 205? And don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with anyone who likes MMA. And until next time, I'm signing off. I will see you guys later.